Recently launched at this year's Lammer, this is the 6680T from Schaffer, a brand new machine and effectively replaces the old 6390T from the German manufacturer. Like the Weidemann, Schaffer are a specialist in building this type of machine. Schaffer also claimed this is one of the most hand-built machines out of the four here tested. Whether that's a good point or a bad point remains to be seen. However, let's see how she fares up against the other three. Up next we have the Schaffer, holds the V from Germany. A very popular machine in this class, especially on the continent and in the UK to a fair extent as well. As I said, driving the Weidemann. Schaffer and Weidemann, they're pretty much specialists in this class of machine, hence their popularity. And really do give the main big brands such as JCB a run for the money. And in fact, yeah, they're probably actually a damn sight better than JCB in this class. Let's be honest about it. This machine then, first impressions, jump in the cab, yeah, ample space. And I say ample space because it's not too wide, it's not too tall, but it's just about spot on. You get lots of visibility, pretty much all around, over the back end, around the front end, pretty decent above as well, for when you're reaching high up with bales or whatever, stacking. Layout, pretty simple, very intuitive, again like the Weidemann. Main controls are attached to the chair, which means they do move up and down with you, which is good. As for the joystick, it's probably one of my least favourites out of the bunch actually, and that's only because you can do the least amount at the same time with it. So for instance, right now I'm using shuttle a lot and the third service a lot, and the boom, I'm not actually changing range, and for some reason they put the range change on the back of the stick. Now I don't really want to do that at the same time as, you know, boom out or open my grab, you know, so unfortunately it's not just quite as good, but it's something you could just about live with, I think, you know, especially given the how good the rest of the machine is. It's like now I want to boom out and open up my grab at the same time, but I can't because I've only got one thumb. So unfortunately I have to choose one and then do the other one. It's all a little bit clunky operation, but it's not too bad. In and out of old and twisty buildings, yeah, it's proved itself to be pretty good. Very nimble. Transmission and engine, they're just such smooth operators. Like the JCB and the Weidemann, it also employs an inching pedal combined with a brake pedal combo, essentially, which is really good because it gives you lots of feel of the transmission and lots of control. Really good, especially if you're doing really fine stuff like stacking pallets or something like that. For traction, the Schaffer uses limited slip differentials front and rear. Gives about 40% locking front and rear, but the good thing about limited slip differentials as opposed to a manual locking system is the fact that you just forget about it, you just leave it to it and it just grabs and bites, which is good, and it'll grab and bite when it's turning as well, unlike just in a straight line, which you sometimes only get with 100% locking differential. The only downside to LSDs is they do scrub a little bit on the tyres and you get a bit more resistance in the steering. Particularly compare this with the Weidemann, which uses the manual locking diffs. You know, the steering is just a touch heavier on this. Not massively, you know, you can live with it. If we're going to talk downsides about the Schaffer, to be honest, there isn't that too many. The joystick's probably one. I'd like to see a more usable configuration. Handbrake's a bit of a lazy thing as well. When you put it on, it takes a few seconds to actually engage, by which time you've rolled about 4 foot down the yard. But it's not too bad as long as you're aware of it. It's just those first time drivers that go to step out and it's still rolling. But as you can see by the turning circle, it's a seriously nimble machine, really made for the job. Schaffers really know what they're doing when it comes to these types of machines. And they're very proud of it as well. They boast that the Schaffer is the most handmade machine out of all the 4 here. Whether that's a good thing or not, I'll leave that one up to you. So what do we like about the Schaffer then? Well, to be honest, we like quite a lot about this machine. You can tell it was made for this job. It is such a smooth operator, especially in terms of the transmission and hydraulics. They're both really responsive as well. Really agile, brilliant in and out of tight spaces around this yard. The cab makes good use of space. It is a really well packaged machine, especially when you compare it to the other 3. On the downsides, joystick, probably the least favourite of ours out of the 4 machines. It only doesn't really allow you to do too many functions at once using multiple fingers, which is a bit of a downside. But apart from that, it is a really solid contender.